Big numbers don't scare our team across the board. It's kind of amazing. But really, it's just reverse engineering those goals into smaller sprints for our entire team. So we're so clear on the direction that we're going as a brand, and we just want to get there the quickest, most efficient, the most profitable way. Risks that we might face and ensuring that we're budgeting for those risks and finding the right people that can solve those problems. Like, we have the best consultants also helping us out throughout the way to ensure that we get to that result in the least bumpy way possible. We've grown our team in the last quarter from 30 to 50. It's just like a feeling with every person on like exactly what they're going to be doing within the organization.
The hardest part of selling Brez today is probably the fact that there's THC in it. Not because of roadblocks, it's that people have stigma and fears over the idea of cannabis. Think bigger, like way bigger. Like, you guys are some of the smart people in the entire world. Like, you have access to superhuman capabilities, and some of us are wasting it on dog pillows, no offense. But it's like, what are we doing here? We're at the forefront of AI revolution with the most powerful attention engines in human history. What are you going to do with that?
How's it going, guys?
So what's been cool, what's been really cool is that...
High as right now.
He's been breezing. Has anybody had any drinks today yet? Okay. I've seen some faces. Anybody have a black lid? Anybody drink black lids yet? I know the Iron Neck guy did.
I think we ran out, but we have 6 more cases coming, so we'll have a good time later on today.
Black lids are potent. Definitely hit those.
10 milligrams.
I want to start with who am I talking to and who am I talking to?
I'm Nosbisch. I'm the founder and CEO of Brez, and I'm honored to be amongst you guys. I think I know a lot of you, and this is like my favorite community. I think you guys know, and I just want to give flowers to Nick for a moment because, dude, the community that you have brought together in the internet marketing, the internet entrepreneurship world over the last decade is insane. And I know personally you've added a ton of value to my life, and I think I probably speak for most of us. So really, thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
And I'm Dan. I'm the COO at Drink Brez. I'm honored to be here too.
So this is where I like to ask is, when you have a founder who's trying to do really, really big things, where do you find a COO to be able to help implement those things? How did this start?
Totally. So, I mean, we were... So I guess it started with, I knew that I was going to need someone who was willing to do like most of the CEO job even, you know, like like my head's really kind of in this big picture, how we're going to integrate into culture, how we're going to shift culture and how all that's going to work together. And it's hard for me to like stay the consistency that I need on the day to day. So I knew I needed someone really exceptional that was willing to play not just the traditional COO role, but something bigger. Didn't know what that was going to look like. And I had a guy, Dan, apply, and I thought, okay, yeah, smart guy, he's really cool, you know, but whatever. But I mean, then it persisted to like he would just like show up in my hometown, and it's like, hey, you want to get coffee? I'm like, don't you live in New York? And he's like, no, I'm here.
I was actually in Miami during the time, just for the record.
So you know, you're super persistent, and I think like, you know, sometimes it takes something like phenomenal like that for you to know, and that was Dan's persistence, and I knew that was that guy, and that was definitely the right bet.
For me, I've been building Better For You brands for such a long time, and just seeing the impact that both of you guys have been having for so long has been so amazing. I knew I had to be part of this team.
But this is brand new. Like, this is shit that's not, this is the thing that makes no sense to me now, even being inside this beast, is that this hasn't been done before. So why are you making it better? You could have gone, you literally could have gone anywhere. Like, I knew where else you could have gone, and why this?
Yeah, but you guys achieved already. I joined a year ago, and you guys were already at 400,000. Now we're at 4.3 million 1 year later, but that's still fucking impressive for the speed that you did.
No, I'll bring this up again. It's like, we're fully remote, we're fully distributed, we're selling beverages, and we're launching products almost weekly at this point right now. The biggest thing we got, so I remember Aaron came on, this is before we went to the overall team. He goes, what do we do? First year, we're pacing to, it was like 20 million. He's like, okay, I think we should do 100 million. And I go, yeah, for sure. We should definitely do that. And then he didn't break smile. Then he just kept it, and he's held it. And then I was like, fuck, he's actually serious. Like, this is what we have to do. When you get these goals or lofty areas, and then it's like, oh, Dan, we need to make this happen. how do we even do this?
Honestly, big numbers don't scare our team across the board. It's kind of amazing. But really, it's just reverse engineering those goals into smaller sprints for our entire team. Also, we're so clear on the direction that we're going as a brand, and we just want to get there the quickest, most efficient, the most profitable way. So that's it.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like, yeah, I think people think of me as like this, like, oh, big vision, or we're trying to get these crazy numbers, but like I don't get any resistance from Dan on that at all. Like I'm like, dude, I think we can get to 100 million. Like I think it's possible, and then Dan like backs that up with a framework of how it could actually happen, and he presents it to me in an interesting way. It's very much like, it's possible, but we have to do all of these things exactly this way. And I think that's what you really need out of a second in command, a COO. It's like you need someone who like isn't gonna like question you or doubt you, is gonna say like, if it could happen, this is how it would happen, and then create that framework for you to live into. And you do that exceptionally well.
I think the part that I don't fully understand is like the team wasn't really that big. How did you know, and I still struggle with this even building the small team I have, when he says something has to get specifically done. This year, retail is a big push for us. None of us are major retail guys outside of your juice shop days, which is a little bit different. How are you even thinking about who to hire and when to hire? Like, how does this process go through you?
I think it starts off with the risks that we might face and ensuring that we're budgeting for those risks and finding the right people that can solve those problems. Like, we have the best consultants also helping us out throughout the way to ensure that we get to that result in the least bumpy way possible. We've grown our team in the last quarter from 30 to 50, and it's just like a feeling with every person on like exactly what they're going to be doing within the organization.
Has there ever been something that you are like, yo, we need to do this, and you're like, I don't think that's going to happen at all yet?
Yeah. I don't know in specific. You're saying like an idea of like, this is what I want to do, and Dan's like, no, better
Correct.
not. Yeah, I mean, I want to spend a ton of money on events.
Stop spending money.
I'm like, we just did South by
So
Southwest.
yeah, tell me about South by. How did this come to the number?
That was crazy. Like, I mean, we invested $150,000 to activate South by Southwest, which is nuts. And we passed out, I think, 35,000 cans, something like that, 35,000 cans, which, whatever that average is $5 a can or something like that per person. It's hard to quantify these things. It's like, was there a direct return from that, and was it immediately profitable? I don't know. I mean, like, we're changing culture and giving people new drinks that make them feel better without feeling worse, and we're trying to get them to consider that over alcohol or instead of alcohol or instead of. So how do you do that? Like, you can run ads to people all day long, but until people are like at an event, kind of like we're at now, and drinking the products and like realize like, yeah, maybe he's a little buzzed, but he's all right. It's like that type of like integration that happens in the physicality rather than the digital really ties the whole thing together. And so.
It's also nice because a lot of people already are exposed to the brand before they have the experience of trying it in person. So that's just like
we should talk about that,
experience.
Dude. So there's a quote. So has anyone ever done beverage before? No? Okay, me either. So it's my first rodeo as well. It's a bitch. Like, it is expensive as hell. It is heavy as hell. And I think the only reason we're probably successful in beverage is because I didn't know any rules about beverage. Like, I knew direct-to-consumer. I knew e-commerce. I understood that unit economics needed to be high enough and that subscription needed to be first. I knew that we had to sell on these outcomes. Like, I knew. So we were building a wellness product in a can. It was kind of like the angle there. So the reason I say that is there's in beverage, most people fail. It's extremely expensive. Like 2% of businesses in beverage succeed, and the ones that do, they typically get really big really fast. Does anyone know how big Monster Energy is on market cap? $60 billion. $60 billion. Some of the biggest companies in the world. Anheuser-Busch, I think, is 120. Coca-Cola is 100. So the reason I say all this is these guys talked about how long it took to build a brand. One of the CEO, I think it was a Pepsi, said it takes 7 years for a brand to become a mainstream brand. Those guys never had access to Facebook ads. Those guys never had access to AppLovin. They never had access to these efficiency. Like, we have the ability to harness the most powerful, efficient human attention machines in history. And like, so I think what's curious to us, to tie this back in, like, we go to these places like South by Southwest where we're making a big jump but everyone who comes up to us knows us. Like, they already have heard of Brez. And like, not because they've seen it on the shelf, because we bought 650 million impressions last year. You know, it's like that has never really existed before. And I was talking to the Javi Coffee guys about this as well. I think there's just massive opportunity for the e-com players in retail that is just not being realized by current retail entrants, and would highly recommend leaning into it.
But they're coming around to it now-ish, because I think like the TikTok shops, the products that are going viral there. I talked about Sour Strips' virality and their exit earlier. You see Alani Nu, which was heavily influencer-led, then Celsius came and swooped them up. Even the Rock Zoa energy drink brand, like all these that have some sort of engine that's driving them, it's extremely important to do that. But that just makes it more validating for you to be like, no, it's 100% possible. We have to do this. And so when I go back to Dan and ask you, on the being virtual but selling a physical product and growing the retail, what has been like the hardest thing about your role so far, and what do you think will get easier?
You mean about working like remote, or?
I think remote, or just building the brand in general at the speed that we're trying to do.
Yeah, it's like we talk about threading the needle. In this case, we're threading like 1,000 needles a day and solving massive problems. I think it's just orchestrating it all. Everything has to work perfectly at the same time. And the other thing is, like, because we've scaled from 0 to 28 million last year, and right now we're pacing to 55, trying to go towards 100 million this year. That foundation that we build, every single time it stabilizes, I don't even feel like I can stabilize it. We already need to upgrade that. So that's just been generally a challenge, I guess, for us, and we have to adapt really quick to that.
Lately, it's been so we did all this product expansion, you know, so we had the small, and then we had the tall can. Now we have a 10 milligram can. We have a spirit bottle we just came out with, shot bottles we just came out with, and I think we have 4 more products releasing in the next 30 days. So it's like, you know, I didn't realize how much that costs. Like, it's pretty damn expensive. I don't know if you realized either, but like, we ended up, you know, like, even though we're profitable and we were bootstrapped, we had $5-6 million of cash flow just tied into new product expansion. I mean, that's probably been one of the more challenging things.
Yeah, I think when you are in it every single day, you don't realize how many initial units you need to order for a new SKU. Like, when we were going about it, I started ordering from the cash flow that we had and realized we sold out in 2 days from our spirit product. So that's why we had to find external financing to help us kind of build up our inventory of all these new products that we're launching into the world.
Can you talk about the product effects? Because what's new and different, what we're trying to compete with, we had 2 core SKUs. One was an effect, one was not a full effect. And now we have to expand. And this was a big debate that we all sat. I wouldn't say debate, I would say strongly opinionated discussion in South by Southwest with Brian, you, and Dan. And you guys, do we workshop that thing for 2 whole days, nonstop? Yeah. And where did you land, and why do you feel that way?
Yeah, that was kind of curious. And I think this
set the scene for everyone as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this, so, you know, when Brez launched, and probably what a lot of you guys, if you know of Brez, this is probably how you know of it, we kind of launched as this microdose cannabis and mushrooms in a can. This idea of, you know, feel good without feeling worse. This 5-minute euphoric, happy, uplifting effect that lasts for 60 to 90 minutes. Exciting and fun, and because it was legal THC federally, and we were able to distribute this across the globe and sell it through e-com, like, that was a major, you know, moment. But it was, and what I learned through this experience is that was really kind of our emerging positioning, our emerging market moment. And I think that more brands should be doing this. I think we got really focused on one thing, which is that you can drink this can and you're gonna feel good, and it makes a great alcohol alternative. And that's what we sold for quite a while. But now that we're maturing, honestly, like, the hardest part of selling Brez today is probably the fact that there's THC in it. Not because of roadblocks, like, we're good at that stuff. It's that people have stigma and fears over the idea of cannabis. You know, it's like they had that one bad edible experience in college and they've never let it go. You know, it's like
it's always a gummy.
It's always a gummy. It's always a gummy.
See, everyone's like, fuck the gummies.
My wife calls it, and I don't think we should launch gummies, by the way. I think it's a bad idea.
I was like kind of viral, like maybe you want to put a gummy and get really toasted. I don't know.
But like, Pepsi does not have gummies. You know what I mean? Like, nor does Red Bull.
Coca-Cola, who aren't those candy?
I don't know if they did that, but so you know what we learned in that, and I had this broader vision for Brez more fundamentally, that I know that the world is fundamentally moving towards function. Not because it's something new, it's more of like a revelation we're all kind of having. The reality is we already are consuming for function. Like, we have coffee in the morning because it gives us energy. We have maybe beer in the afternoon because it provides us relief. Tea to help us go to sleep. Whatever it is. Like, food even for energy or health. So we're just telling it as it is. my point with that is we've now bridged this gap to what we did to initially get into the market to where we think the market is going, where the puck is going, and what we're calling that is just Brez feel-good tonics. And we're creating a range of craft experiences that will enhance any moment through a variety of effects, both with cannabis and without cannabis. Maybe we can give a little tidbit. Okay, so we have 4 new products coming out. Okay, keep this quiet. We have turn that shit off. We have 4 new products coming, 2 in the non-infused space, so cannabis-free. One's going to be called Elevate, which is an uplifting, energetic tonic that has guayusa and maca and ginseng. So it's going to give you this uplifted, happy feeling. And then we have a rest tonic or sleep tonic called Dream. It's going to be cherry chamomile, a tart cherry and chamomile, and reishi and passion flower. So rich in these very powerful active. So that's in the non-infused alongside Flow, which is here. I highly recommend it, which is our more social cannabis-free tonic. All 3 of those will be rolling out in all 600 Sprouts stores on June 1st, which is crazy because we're really a cannabis brand. You know, like that's crazy. It's like Whole Foods selling weed.
But this is why you have to shift to where the new positioning is.
Exactly, and that's I think something that we're really learning a lot in this process is like what are we trying to build actually? What we're trying to build actually is for a better way for people to feel better. Like I want people to have options that allow them to enrich their lives in ways that are generative. So those are our 3 non-infused. We have 2 more infused and more energizing tonic, and then a hypnotic tonic that has Blue Lotus and things in it. That will be coming out pretty soon. So
the cool thing about this is like the reason why those products were launching, A, we needed to, but B, it gives the retail guys ammunition to play with, and it gives me on the subscription side stuff for me to play with.
Well, it turns it into a platform brand. And like I also think this is something that's super underrated in the e-commerce world is people get so, I think it's because a lot of us came from like affiliates and like drop shipping and shit that like people have kind of forgotten what it means to like innovate and build something real and long-lasting.
Rip and run, remember?
Yeah, exactly. Rip and run, flip it. I mean, I don't know. What are you going to do with the money that you exit? Invested in a business? I'd rather build it, I think that there's a lot of opportunity in doing so. So like our plan is using this momentum that we've created with Brez in order to shift it into more of a platform brand. I mean, the reality is there's 50,000 different herbs, mushrooms, adaptogens that will make you feel something that are fully legal. And this can is quite the delivery device for those types of products. So our intention is to build something that, I think the most obvious example of this is like Apple. It's like, does Apple, it's not iPhone, it's not MacBook, it's Apple. And like that allows them infinite possibility and adaption that makes the company fundamentally more value. And if there's anything that I've learned in entrepreneurship and e-commerce that I would pass over to my friends is like, think bigger, like way bigger. Like you guys are some of the smartest people in the entire world right now. Like you have access to superhuman capabilities, and some of us are wasting it on dog pillows. No offense, but it's like what are we doing here? Like we're the forefront of the AI revolution with the most powerful attention engines in human history. What are you gonna do with that?
This is the crazy thing is like I get access to this, Dan gets access to this, and Corbin, if anybody gets your emails, Corbin's a real person. Is Corbin in the room?
Wherever he is.
Raise his hand. Okay.
Corbin, no, he's getting Brez from downstairs, actually.
He's actually sending emails. He's a real guy, not a fake guy. But when you don't get access to this type of stuff on an ongoing basis, but you still get the information and you still need the team to understand how they need to execute and operate, you have to inform them how they need to run, but you can't really micromanage how they're executing things. How are you finding out, taking the emotion, the energy, the expectations from Aaron, and then going like, all right, activate the entire team? Because we have a product launch that is now on May 15th.
Yeah, I mean, our team is so good about autonomous action, honestly.
Were you hiring for quality of execution, like proven people, or are you going like, I think they have upside, go for it?
Aaron has like an amazing philosophy on hiring that he passed on to me that I use all the time. It's either a hell yes or a hell no, and we apply that to everyone I hire. Some people are like come with 30 plus experience in the industry and they're amazing. Some people just have this like ability, that's craving to learn more and to just be best in class in whatever they're doing, and we bring them on too, and they've been all around. It's been incredible building this team.
That's what I learned with Malia. So she sent me 2 people for customer experience. She's like, this one, she doesn't have any experience, but she's got a lot of enthusiasm. She feels like she gets it. And this gentleman has a lot of experiences. We should talk to both. I was like, okay.
He's a dick.
But he's rude, but he got it. He's great at it. And this, I would actually open this up to a couple questions. People from the audience is like,
Can I riff on that just real quick?
yeah,
before you do so?
please.
One thing, Dan, I think actually this is probably one of the more profound things happening in Breeze today is like we have no fucking clue what we're doing. Like no clue. Like I've never done this before. He's never done this before. He's never done this before. Like we've done other things and we're applying that knowledge to it. But it's that like self-awareness. Look at the Breeze rolling in right now. This
is Corbin. Corbin is a real person.
Dude, Corbin, we were just
Hi,
talking.
Corbin.
This is Corbin from Breeze.
All right, we got you guys. Fuck yeah, tonight's gonna be sick. So, okay, we don't know what we're doing, but the thing we do know is that we know that we don't know, and we know that it's going to need us rebuilding ourselves personally and professionally over and over and over again. We know that we're gonna have to rely on all of our friends to teach us what we're missing and to poke holes in our visions and our ideas, and like that is so understood. Like I know that Dan's never ran a $1 billion company, but I also know Dan will run one, positively. Like, there's not even a doubt. And you know who else knows that?
Dan.
That's true.
Dan
fucking knows that.
And if he doesn't, good fucking luck, buddy. I have questions.
I think once you solve so many problems on an everyday basis, you just kind of get used to solving problems. You just get really good at it, and that's across our entire team. That's the common thread. I was just talking to Corbin about this, like literally outside.
Okay, be vulnerable with me. What has been one so far? You're like, this is rough.
We almost ran out of money 3 weeks ago. That was rough.
I didn't get this text message.
Yeah, me either. I told him figure it out and then text me.
We got a $6 million loan.
Real quick plug, Wayflyer fucking showed up for us.
That's true. This is true.
$10 million line of credit in 72 hours. That is stupid APY.
I don't know if that's for everyone though.
It was. I mean, subscription-based businesses, I think, make underwriting a lot happier and like more confident in your abilities, kind of thing. But
this is 100% true. So this was a. I remember I got this message. This is what I get from Dan. So we do a daily reporting of revenue and pace of spend on all of our channels. I get this guy. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" A little bit of pause, and he goes, "We need like $450,000 in like 4 days." I go,
Do it.
I go, nice. Who's doing that? And he's like, I think it should be you. I go, what? I was like, what? I didn't know that. And then we had to figure it out. So that part was kind of rough. We do get some of those.
He asked you for 450 or to generate 450?
There was a gap. There was a little bit of gap.
Revenue gap.
There was a gap. The numbers might be a little bit different, but that conversation is pretty frequent as we come in. But I think that's the fun part about building something. You're like, dude, this is kind of crazy. We're doing this. We'll find a way of doing this.
Hey, thanks for investing in Breeze, by the way.
Yeah, no worries. It's been fun. It's been fun. Anybody questions for these weirdos on stage right now? Yeah, Nick, come on over to you. It's such an interesting perspective because you can get the vision and then you can get the execution in the both questions. So,
what's up, guys?
Hey.
One thing you guys have been notorious for is this notion of building in public, publicizing your numbers, publicizing the progress, and so on. Can you walk us through sort of the thought process? Was there a thought process of just sharing everything? Because it's dope to see.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do it if we were like this size and then started building in public. I was just talking to the Javi guys about this, and I'm like, I don't know if I would start building the public if I was Javi today. But I think the way we did it was brilliant, inspired by Nick primarily, and I would highly recommend it if you're starting something new. Like the fundamental idea kind of wrapped around 3 points. One is that none of us believe in competition. Like I think it's a yesteryear idea. I think that like people can try to rip you off and they can chase your tail all day long, but they're never going to be able to like see what you necessarily see and build towards that. And like even if they could, I told the next product, so they're going to jump to that gun. Like, but do you see what's beyond that? Do you see what's guiding that fundamentally from my heart? You don't, and you can't. And you shouldn't. You should see whatever you see, and like you should go pursue that because I can't do that either. Only you can, and like that's where real magic and power comes from, fundamentally. 1, 2 is that the benefit of being top of mind. This is really what I learned from Nick. Has anyone ever were you at a Geek Out event ever? Some of these amazing events that Nick held all across the country, or not this country. Sorry, like 10 different countries. Yeah. And Nick was just like. here's what he would do. He would go to people like Van Oaks or me, and he'd say, hey, what's really working? What's the secret sauce that no one else knows that you really know? And we would tell him. He's like, great, you're going to talk about that in front of 200 people. And we're like, what? And he's like, don't, just trust me. And he was right. Like when you foster this energy of just like giving and sharing, there's something metaphysical about it that just turns it back around to you. Like another way, part of it is you become top of mind with a lot of people, and because you're so open about what you're succeeding in and what you're struggling with, everyone becomes a resource to help you solve those problems very quickly. If anyone follows Nick or me on Twitter, like when we're facing issues with Brez, we'll just say it or post it, and like within hours, we'll have solutions to it. Like, that's crazy. Like I have 100 investors right now that would fucking give me a check any day just because they see our stuff online and on social. Like there's a lot of value in doing that. The third is like the reason I like to geek out, the reason I like this event so much is because people are telling it as it is and they're keeping it real. They're not gatekeeping information. And something that I really struggled with whenever I was in my come up is figuring out what's actually working, and it was so secretive, and I thought that was so lame of people. So I thought, if we ever got more successful, we would just tell people how it is so that they didn't have to go through so much bullshit.
I also think it's tough that in our age, there's half of the group that wants to make money from the information that you're trying to share, and there's other half that's like, dude, I just wish someone told me this when I was doing it, and I just want someone to hear me out. And I think that is that building publicly as much as you can is important for the next gen to be like, oh, this is actually possible. And that's also why I think I was at YPO yesterday, and I sat in that room, and I felt like they were very like, this is mine. Like, this is the thing that I have that I can't get rid of, because if you learn it, you might do it bigger than me. And I don't like that attitude. I don't like, again, closed mouths don't get fed. There's plenty enough for all of us to eat and win. And that is super true. And even bigger is like, we're in a space that needs a lot of advocates for the positivity of what we're trying to build. And the only way you do that is by coming from a person. Like Brez can't be launching ideas or concepts from the brand. It has to come from the person that is leading the brand. So I think that's huge.
Well, something that I think we're all kind of learning together is like, what does it mean to build a category? It's one thing when you're building a brand within a category. It's a new thing when you're like changing and making something fundamentally new. And one thing that I'm learning, and I kind of learned early on with the CBD world, and then that applied over to the THC world, it's if you're leading the category, the bigger the category gets, the bigger you get. Like, that's how that works. If you're at the top of the pyramid and the pyramid becomes wider, you go higher. Not always. People can like trade positions with you, maybe top 5, but like the bigger the category, like if everyone starts drinking feel-good tonics and there's a bunch of brands that offer them, and Brez is the largest of those, like Brez becomes a very, it's like Pepsi made Coke bigger in tandem, like because more people started drinking soft drinks. And so these are like big ideas that we're learning on the fly very quickly, but I think they're worth considering. And that's what I was saying earlier. It's like, I think that one of the biggest traps of e-com is the echo chambers we put ourselves in. Like, there's big business out there, and we have tools that they have no fucking clue how to use. And so leverage them and become the big business, and then let's run this shit and like do it our way.
Any questions? Anything else? Beautiful. Oh, we got one coming down.
Supply chain and sourcing, like, did you start out with one co-packer? When did you make a decision to diversify? How are you guys doing forecasting? And then are you shipping directly from your co-packer, or do you have multiple 3PLs across the country? A little bit about that.
Great questions. Let me do first 6 months, and then you do everything else.
Okay.
So first 6 months of the business, was tough. Luckily we met Travis, who's not here unfortunately, but he's actually the guy who made Brez. Like, he's the chief formulator and product officer. Travis had like a small canning line in his house, and so like the first 500 cans we made were just like hand canned, and he happened to be connected to an office of a guy who happened to have a nano emulsion ultrasonic lab. Standard. so that worked out. And so like we were able to do small production runs in beverage, which is usually really expensive and rarely possible. So that was super helpful. And then, we got scrappy with it. We found breweries. The thing about beverage and functional and new age tonics and things like this is there's a lot of breweries out there, and the beer's not doing that hot. So it's a good time to like leverage all of their equipment. So we did some small runs there. And so that was the first 6 months. But
Fast forward 1 year, and we're producing 2 million cans a month. we have a couple different.
how many
co-packers.
pallets is that? 4x4 pallets?
Dude,
200, something like that.
yeah, like 25 truckloads each production.
Semi trucks.
Yeah,
Which is the craziest thing because we're fucking playing on our computers.
yeah. So we have multiple co-packers now across the country for specific product lines. We're going to continue expanding that one network. We're also going from 1 3PL to 4 at the end of next month. So that's going to be a big shift for us as well. Supply chain, part of the challenge of launching really innovative products, you have to find the supply. So, and we want to make sure that it's the highest quality and something that we could also scale. And that's really been the trickiest part about launching all these products. You know, like our cacao comes from Peru and our lion's mane comes from the forest. So it's like we go through a lot of effort to find the best supply and then work with the partners to scale it up with them. But yeah, that takes the longest amount of time.
I also think that like you need to think ahead. Like you need to realize you need to know that you're gonna be successful before you achieve that. Like you know where you're gonna go and trust that you're gonna get there, and think through your partnership deals ahead of time with that. And I think that's a lot. I think it's challenging because people are very like responsive to whatever's happening in the moment or reactive to what. And we made some mistakes there. I mean, we had some supply chain partners that I don't know if they were necessarily the best people, and we built their companies, and then they could leverage that against us. You know, it's like so you got to be very mindful of like what you're doing and trying to pre-plan as much as that as possible. There's like there's a grace you have to have with yourself because like when you're scaling, especially quickly like this, you're kind of just trying to make sure the whole thing doesn't fall apart. You know, but yeah.
What about price? Will talked about price. Do you guys think about price, seeing how you're kind of creating a category?
Yeah.
Like, how much does that play? And
Well,
trying to go down,
price
trying
of
to
our
go up?
products or sourcing or both?
Both.
Both. I'll talk about the price on the product. You talk about COGS.
Yeah.
So on the price, so you know what I told you earlier is like I'm clueless in beverage. Like this is my first rodeo. I had a few friends, a guy Jibby Coffee. He's a buddy of mine, and he gave me like his 2 years of experience in a 2-hour phone call one time, and that was like pretty much what I knew about bev. But what I didn't know is I know ecom like it's back of my hand. I've been in ecom since I was 13 years old. Big Cartel and MySpace, like it's my bread and butter. So I knew that regardless of what we were selling, that I needed to have a unit economics that would facilitate my ability to buy customers online at scale. You know, Ryan Dice had a quote that I really liked, which was, "He who can pay the most per customer wins." It's true. It's an auction. Like you're bidding. You know, and so how do you solve for that? You build a product that will be successful with any individual offer. You have it so that it can be stacked up to a strong AOV. You focus on bundling and continuing to increase that opportunity over time, and you become religious about subscription immediately. Like if you want to succeed in e-com, that's how you do it, regardless if you're selling flowers or Breeze or whatever. So I think you know. And then here's the other question: like, what do you pay for a can of cannabis and mushrooms? It doesn't exist, you know. And like, if you compare it to the 5 other guys, they'll tell you whoever can sell it for the cheapest and at the highest, you know. But I think that we think of it differently. I think that we're trying to make as valuable as a product first. And I know we think about this a little bit in the COGS. We're focusing on just like making the best possible product that's even possible in humans kind based on what we're doing, and then we pull back on the COGS and we optimize for and unit economics that support e-com.
Truly, for the volume that we're doing right now, we have an ops team of 2 people and expanding right now. So
2 people, not excluding you.
Excluding 3. Me, yeah. So, I mean, we're right now 22% COGS. I think that can be optimized massively over the next couple of months, and that's a huge undertaking for us. We're changing our cans over to be crown. That's going to be literally drop our packaging cost in half. But also due to necessity of just like how fast we're growing, we had to source everything as much as possible locally, and then specialty ingredients obviously come from like South America and other places. But yeah.
Supply agreements, like we're really late to the game on supply agreements, like duh, you know, things like that.
I got one in the back. Are you gonna say it? Don't be scared, bro. Step up.
I was just going to ask about the decision to go all remote and
Yeah.
any drawbacks you've seen from that.
I like to travel a lot, and Nick does too. And like, the thing is, my wife, which really, by the way, is truly the foundation of this whole thing. Like, I'd probably be dead if it wasn't for her. But
Somewhere in the world.
somewhere, I don't know, or like, yeah, I don't know, wouldn't be good. But my point though is. So my wife, she's a travel writer full time. So she writes for Travel and Leisure and these other people, and we're spending 6 months of the year on the road and have been doing so for the last 10 years of our marriage. And so I think we were really early into the digital nomad thing. Nick was really early into the digital nomad thing. A lot of us were, I'm sure. And so we just kind of built our own lives traveling a lot, and I think we got better at doing that, and we just decided that was too valuable to us to trade off. You definitely lose some shit. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, being with people in person, like, we always probably talk.
Yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, it's magical every time we get together and we're like, wow, we should be doing this much more often. So you miss something. But also, like, people get to live their lives the way they want to, and often that leads to more fulfillment, and more fulfillment leads to better work, and better work is how you create great things.
Like, this took off the day my son was born. Like, or the year 2, like, it really, really started going, and I was like really, 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 really nervous about this. First kid, don't really know what the fuck I'm doing, trying to figure it out. And if I didn't have that flexibility to be able to plug in really, really aggressively, be intentional, because when you're with someone all the time, working in office, you kind of take it for granted. Like, you're not really spending with them, talking with them, doing the things you need to be with them, and then all of a sudden you go to a South by where we have 11 executives there, and it's so intense and intentional, and you kind of leave a little bit rejuvenated. And I think that, like, hybrid relationship, that might be actually very good secret sauce for people, because you want to stay remote, you still want people to exist. Dan's in New York, Aaron's in Palm Beach, I'm in California, half the team is in. There will be little hubs around each other. Like, we know New York will pull off. We know we have a couple more people in South Florida. California is too expensive and weird, so we don't probably won't do too much there. But maybe Texas. So I think there's areas that we can kind of call into. Anything on that? You're good.
Yeah, I've never worked in an office in my life, so I can't imagine doing that now, but I do think it works really well for us, and we have a lot of moments even across the company. Like, we do happy hours every 2 weeks with our entire team at 420, and we're going to start doing more things in person as well, like, throughout this year. I think this year is going to be a big shift towards that, and we should be doing more of it now too.
The way you say that, it's like people have to get high to work at Brez. It's like 420 on the dot.
And they want to.
Which 420 this year, if anybody partook in it, was also Easter. So the dynamics was very unique. Final question.
All right. Hey guys, question on looking at like how the healthy prebiotic sodas have really taken off, and you look at Poppy's valuation and Olipop, and how it seems like the big soda is responding. Ooh. Do you guys think that may be a foreshadow for next generation with alcohol brands, or what do you see the future this generation for alcohol brands? Do you see them pivoting or dying
this
or
is like
shrinking?
Fighting words. You're gonna get me in trouble.
Well, such a good question.
You know, alcohol is like literally the mafia. Like, actually the mafia. Like, no, not bullshit. Like, this was the mob. Like, these guys were the boot. Jack Daniels was a person. Jim Beam. Like, these were, I don't know, maybe not everyone was a person, but these are real moonshiners that ran gangs and then operations, and then the government had to break them up through the 3-tier system so that they didn't have too much of a monopoly on the entire country. Fucked up shit. And they're still the ones in charge. So yeah, I think about it a lot. it's a little, but I think here's what's fundamentally changed in society is before, access was the vehicle of brand building. Meaning, like, if you wanted to be the popular soda in New York, you needed a distribution system that would facilitate your product being available at the stores, right? And then, like, if your product was available at stores, when I went into the stores, that's the product that was available. The brand became notorious, so that's how you did it. So what happened is a lot of these existing powers that be, are in this mindscape of that as long as I control access, then I run the world. And that's just not true anymore, because we're all fucking that shit up, like, hard. Like the fact that we have these attention engines and the internet, and we can break the means and the molds, and we can transfer information at speeds that have never been possible. It allows, like I said earlier, to do things like build a brand in 2 years while we're on 2,000 shelves. Like, that's weird, and that's not. So my thought is that I think that I think that most of the big players in beverage are going to have to acquire or partner with the brands of the future. I don't think they're going to be able to make them. And I think that's what we're seeing with Poppy. I think that's what we're seeing with Olipop. I think that's what you're seeing with Happy Dad. I think that's what you're seeing with Alani Nu, Prime. You're like, you know, it's like, why? Because even whenever, I know that those big beverage companies have launched prebiotic sodas that I have no clue what they are. Do you know what I mean? But I know Poppy and I know Olipop and I think Pepsi just bought Poppy. Also, and Alani Nu, right? And dude, and these companies trade like fucking crazy. Like that's the thing. Most brands fail in beverage, but if you win, it's like a lottery ticket. Generally speaking, I mean, we have a lot of headwinds with regulation and things that we have to navigate, but these brands trade at like 5 to 10x of run rate, you know. So that's like that would mean Brez is worth something like 200 to 400 million today.
Did you ever hear about the drink Tropicana launched?
No.
That's what I thought. Yeah, it's terrible. It's literally Tropicana like probiotic soda. Just make
there's
orange
like no
juice.
innovation there too, right? It's like, oh, we own the existing infrastructure and the distribution channels. So if we launch prebiotic, we can just boot them out of the way. But that's not how it is anymore. I have a relationship and an affinity and understanding of Poppy and Olipop, and you know, and those guys don't use Facebook ads. Like, imagine if they did and they had a unit economic system that could support it. I think that's why we're getting such outsized returns. It's not just, I mean, Facebook ads is kind of a totem for digital advertising, for trading attention and building a system that supports it, and that. I think that what's going to happen is Brez is going to. I think that Brez has created a fundamental new playbook for what's possible within beverage, and I don't mean that so braggadociously. Just very clearly, it seems like that's what's happening, and I think that it's going to become the future of how CPG products in beverage and not in beverage become mainstream, scalable CPG products.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Aaron, Dan, thank you boys very much.
Thank you, guys.